Hello and welcome to I Have Gnosis Tarot. My name is Ewan and today we are doing a timeless reading for the sign of Cancer. And this can be for a Cancer sun, moon or rising position in your natal chart. There's plenty of free natal charts out there to check whether you have any of those placements. And of course you will need your birth time for your rising sign. Now, as a timeless reading, this applies to the cards here will apply to whatever's going on at the moment in your life. However, I will be referencing astrological events that are happening at the time of this recording. And what that means in terms of a timeless reading is just look back at your life since this reading was made and see if any of the cards resonate with the changes or the events that have happened in that time, or indeed are affecting the events that are happening at the current moment that you're watching this video. Now, of course, if this reading does not resonate with you, that is absolutely fine. Please go and look at your birth chart and see whether you have different signs in your sun, rising or moon placement, as it's probably quite unlikely that you have Cancer in all three placements, though of course if you do, then this reading probably will resonate with you today. As usual, I will be doing the Celtic Cross spread, and I will be using the Thoth Tarot deck. Just shuffle it up again so I don't see the back of the deck, and you'll see why that is as we go through the reading. And I do have to apologise, I might sound a bit bunged up because I've just had a bit of a cold. So again, I look a bit knackered too, but everything's okay. I can do this sign. I can do this reading. That's what matters. So, before I begin, I just ask us all to enter a quiet space within ourselves, really focusing on the awareness of your thoughts and your feelings, and the sensations in your body too. Not identifying with any of those things, but just really noticing them. And as we step into that sacred space of pure awareness and consciousness of the self, we shall begin the reading. And please, Cancer, leave anything that is bothering you to the side for now, as we acknowledge that every ending is just a new beginning. And the first card we have for you today, Cancer, is the Nine of Swords. Now, the Nine of Swords is a very difficult card, arguably one of the most difficult cards in the tarot. It is known as cruelty, and here we have the concept of endless thoughts, an infinite expansion of thoughts, which for any of you who have suffered mental health problems or known those that have, very much identify or at least sympathise with this card and the meaning behind it. And of course we'll go deeper into the meaning of the card as we continue the spread, but for now we have the central querent card, what's going on at the moment for you, Cancer. Now we're going to look at the challenge. So this is something that we do know here, and now we're going to look at something that we don't know. And then we have one of your court cards, Cancer, the Queen of Cups, very much a representation of you, Cancer. The Queen of Cups is a very reflective card, the Water of Water. I have actually just recently done a video looking at the Queen of Cups, going through the symbolism and meaning in the card. I do highly recommend going to look at that video and meditating upon that card, but I will of course give a brief explanation in this video of what that may mean here. So, now let's look at something else that we do know, Cancer, and that's something in our consciousness. Here we have the Hierophant card, which is ruled by Taurus. We are just coming up to Taurus season actually as this reading is being done. And the Hierophant is about coming in contact with our intuition. So this is very much connected to yourself, even though it is ruled by Taurus. It is very Cancerian as well in quality. We'll come to see how this relates to the other cards as we move on. And one thing that will really confirm what the consciousness means is something else that we don't know, and that's the unconscious Cancer. In the unconscious, we have the Five of Cups, also known as disappointment. Mars in Scorpio, and this is again very difficult energy. Cancer, it's quite interesting that we have two Mars cards here. The Nine of Swords is Mars in Gemini. Here we have Mars in Scorpio. We do know that Mars, at the time of this reading, we're in mid-April 2025, Mars is just coming out of your sign, Cancer, and is about to enter Leo. And as we know, Mars is in detriment in Cancer and does not like being there. Cancer does not like Mars being within her. Okay, now let's look at something else that we do know, Cancer, and that is your recent past. And of course, this timescale will apply to however you are resonating with this reading. We have the Eight of Discs. Now, I've just been writing about this card, and the Eight of Discs is known as prudence. It's about saving up material things, being careful with them, being wise with our material assets, and also trusting in them. It's trusting that our bonds will grow. It's trusting that our seeds will grow. It's trusting that our business will grow. Trusting that the universe is in harmony and is not against us, it's for us. Okay. Now let's look at the near future. Again, time context to however you resonate with this reading, Cancer. Well, we have a beautiful card there, the Empress. More Venusian energy related to the Queen of Cups, and of course the Hierophant being ruled by Taurus. And of course we have Venus currently just come out of retrograde as this reading is being published. Okay, so there's a positive future by the looks of it at the moment, Cancer, despite the present moment perhaps not being ideal and difficult. Let's see what your self-image is at the moment, Cancer, as we move on to the second column. And this self-image can also be advice, and often the two are one and the same. The Princess of Swords. So this is the earth of air, very much like a tornado or a hurricane. And here is about thinking in order to change things, changing the physical with our thoughts. It's very Aquarian kind of energy. It's very... it's got a leadership quality to it, but in a humanitarian sense. I always see the Princess of Swords as leading a protest, for example, or a community group that supports some sort of issue in society. Okay, now we're going to look at your environment, Cancer, which might clarify some of these more difficult cards, perhaps. We have the Star card, so another major arcana to go with the Empress and the Hierophant. And just like I was saying here with the Princess of Swords, in terms of Aquarian energy, the Star card is, of course, the card of Aquarius and symbolises hope and the need for rejuvenation. Okay. And now we're going to look at the next position, which is the hopes and fears around the current situation for you, Cancer. I'll put the hope card down first here, and then the fears card, and these are the gateway to the final outcome, with the hopes drawing us towards it, and the fears keeping us from it. So in the hope position, Cancer, we have the Tower, which is quite an interesting card to have in such a position, as the Tower is an often misunderstood and feared card of the tarot spread, but we should not fear it, for it represents sudden change, and as we know, change is the only constant we can rely upon. Make those cards a little neater as we go to the fear. And the fear is the Nine of Cups, happiness. Now this may look contradictory. We have a difficult card and a less difficult card in opposite positions. So this is the hope, this is the fear. Now when we come to analyse the whole reading, I will suggest perhaps why happiness, Nine of Cups, might be a fear for you, Cancer. And finally, we have the outcome. the Five of Wands strife. Arguably the most dignified of the fives, but still difficult. Every five is difficult. But strife suggests a positive change as opposed to the dismal situation we are here in the Five of Cups. Okay. Now there will be one more card that we look at, and that will be the Shadow card, but I will not be looking at that yet. That'll stay at the bottom of the deck, and we will look at that at the end of the reading, and that will act as a warning or a piece of advice in terms of what to look out for. So instead of a piece of advice look towards the outcome, it's a piece of advice in terms of what should be aware of that may disrupt our future, may cause difficulty, may be causing some of these more difficult cards. And if you have any predictions throughout this reading what that Shadow card may be, please do put them in the comments section. So this is a very interesting spread here, Cancer. I'm seeing quite a bit of this blue and pink coloration and red as well throughout the and yellow, come to think of it as well, throughout the spread. We have a mix of what's going on in terms of the elements. We have fire, and of course we have those Mars, even though they're not in fire suits, the Mars is a fire aspect. And of course we have the Earth, and then we have some thoughts here currently with the air, the swords, and of course the star card being Aquarius is an air card too, and of course the Princess of Swords being air. In terms of emotions, we have the Water Cups and the Water Disappointment, and of course the Queen of Cups, and the Empress can be well, the Queen of Cups definitely is a water card. The Empress can be seen as a water card too because of her Venusian quality. Okay then, Cancer, so I think at the moment it's quite obvious that the Nine of Swords is really representing some sort of form of self-attacking at the moment, Cancer. I wonder whether there was this saving up in the past of whatever material benefit in your life. It was done with the intention of being wise and careful. But I think ultimately we knew that this rainy day was coming. But I think the rainy day here is our own thoughts. It's almost like we have everything we need. We've built up this supply, this granary of resources, and some perfectionism maybe has caused us to think maybe I haven't done enough, or it wasn't done properly. And this is essentially, we can see its rumination, I think, with the Queen of Cups, which is a reflective card. If this was not the challenge, then perhaps it would be more mindfulness, reflecting upon our thoughts. However, I think she is here, our thoughts reflecting in themselves, which is constantly repeating the same patterns of self-attacking, based on whatever it was that you were saving for, and that didn't quite turn out how you intended. Now, this could have been putting a lot of work into maybe a job application that didn't go through. Maybe you really thought, I had this, I am the person for the position. Didn't happen. And now we're reflecting upon those experiences and thinking, what did I do wrong? I must have done something wrong. I think that second sentence, I must have done something wrong, is what's causing this to be a Nine of Swords. This is not a Six of Swords. Six of Swords is maybe, what did I not achieve here? What were they looking for that I didn't have? Let's be mindful about this. That would be a Six of Swords. Nine of Swords is, no, I've done something wrong. This might be from perhaps patterns of thinking that have stretched back to childhood. Particularly there with the Queen of Cups, very maternal symbol. Perhaps this was a way that you were spoken to by the maternal figure in your life. It doesn't have to be your mother, but it can be a maternal figure. And I know that just as Capricorn often has difficulties with their fatherly aspect, whoever was the paternal person in their life, I know that Cancer can have difficulties with the maternal person in their life, because essentially we see Capricorn as the father of the zodiac, we see Cancer as the mother of the zodiac, and both are trying to do their jobs better than their actual parents, or at least wanting to. Indeed, that might even be the source of this. This might be a period of inner child healing. This might even be a period of coming to terms with one's feminine side. And I think here there is, again, not only the Queen of Cups, but the future position of the Empress, which is coming to terms with the feminine side. And again, this has got nothing to do with gender. We all have masculine and feminine within us all. And indeed, when we look at the Mars aspects of these two cards, the current situation and the unconscious, we relate to it at the current moment where Mars is coming out of Cancer. Maybe this point here, where the Empress is the point at which Mars moves into Leo. And of course, this would connect very well here with the Saturn in Leo card, which is the strife, and might even be the moment in which, when we begin to embrace our feminine aspect, because of the very patriarchal world that we live in today, and have been living in since the dawn of civilization, really. We're only now coming back to this human egalitarianism that we had perhaps before civilization. It means these centuries of patriarchy, when we do come to realize our feminine nature, it causes strife. Yeah. And it's going to be a bit strange because now usually I work upwards through this column, but today I think I'm going to work backwards. And the reason for this is, why is this going to cause strife? Not only is it this concept of the divine feminine within us being suppressed in every single one of us, but it really needs to burst out, allow to be what it is. And that ironically needs our internal divine masculine to express that. It's the doing. And this isn't that the divine feminine can't do it, it's the way that anything does anything is through the divine masculine. Yeah. And indeed, in a lot more deeper circles of mysticism, we understand that ultimately everything is the divine feminine, and it works through the divine masculine. The divine masculine is, dare I say, not really a plaything of the divine feminine, but rather a conduit in which to do. Doing is masculine, being is feminine. And this is what this Tower moment is, and why it's a hope. It's almost like, I just want to be who I am. Perhaps if we identify more with our feminine side, or if we are becoming in touch with our feminine side, I just want to embrace it. I just want to be able to be. And I think I have to do a brief period of doing in order to do that. Now, this could be getting that ideal job. This could get finding the ideal partner. Going out there and finding new people. Could be friends. In order to get to a position, Cancer, where you feel content in your being, because at the moment I see that you're not content in your being. There's a lot going on in your head. There's a lot going on in your emotions. You are seeking this wisdom. You know that being is actually what we need. I think I'm preaching to the choir here, Cancer, when I say that the universe is ultimately the divine feminine. I think you internally know that, especially as Cancer. One of your court cards is the Queen of Cups. You are the Water of Water, the most feminine of the court cards. It is really connected with the Empress and the High Priestess. And in this sense, you are, by beating yourself up about whatever's going on, Cancer, you're literally getting in your own way here. You are the obstacle to yourself, which confirms the Nine of Swords very nicely. Obviously not nice for you, Cancer, but we know what I mean. In terms of the spread unfolding quite harmoniously. Now, why do we have a fear in terms of happiness? And I wonder whether this is like a sort of self-sabotaging aspect, Cancer, a sense of I don't deserve to be happy. Or if I am happy, what does that mean? Does it mean I have nothing else to strive for, nothing else to fight for? And this really is about learning to be able to balance the divine masculine and feminine within you, I think, Cancer. Okay? And learning a little bit from this Eight of Discs, the Prudence. It is a masculine feminine coming together card. The Sun is the masculine going into the feminine Earth, which is Virgo, and growing this tree. Yeah. And I think here having this very masculine card on this side and this very feminine side, well, reasonably feminine card on this side, is Jupiter in Pisces. It's again another one of those union cards, the masculine and the feminine. It's really telling us that we need to live for ourselves. We're being selfish in the capital S sense. We're looking after the self, consciousness, who we really are. And of course, when we understand that in the self-compassion aspect, that we are all one consciousness, it allows us to be compassionate to others and to receive compassion from others. But first, not always, but I think at least in your case here, Cancer, and for many of us, but not all of us, learning to practice self-compassion first is the true hurdle that will allow, once overcome, will allow the dam to break and allow our compassion to flow. This is a flow of compassion between these three aspects. And here, I believe we need to learn self-compassion. And you know what, Cancer? You're really lucky. You're really lucky because you have an environment in which to do it. You have an environment of hope. And perhaps people around you who believe in you. Perhaps there is simply a change in the wind, so to speak, in terms of your luck. So I don't know. Say this wasn't about losing a job. Perhaps you've stepped into a new job, and whatever this situation over here is got nothing to do with your job. But here you've been very lucky. You've got a supportive environment at work. The opposite could be true. Perhaps this was a job that you didn't get. But here, perhaps we have friends or family, and I think that might be the case because Aquarius is about our community. You have friends and family that are there for you. Or perhaps even a support service. Again, Aquarius can be detached. They don't have to be your best friend, but they will still look after you. They're a water bearer for a reason. And indeed, with this hope and this support behind you, Cancer, it allows you to be. There's a space in which to be. And I think we just need to topple whatever is causing you to stop moving forward, Cancer. This Tower card is really telling, and I know you want it as well. It's in your hopes position. Yeah, and it's going to cause a bit of strife, but this is necessary strife. As to Crowley, whether you love him or hate him, he was a very wise gentleman in terms of his esoteric knowledge, perhaps not necessarily in his life philosophy, but he did very much endorse the Five of Wands. He said it was necessary in order for the world to move on. We need change, and in order for change to happen sometimes, we have to make it happen. Okay, I use the analogy of a stagnant swamp. We eventually, if it gets too full of pondweed, the fish are dying, there isn't enough oxygen in the water, it's just getting clogged up with mud. Eventually someone or something has to come along and dig it out and create a new stream to flow out of this swamp. Allow the river to run again. And of course it's going to create strife in the environment, but it's necessary in order for life to flourish. Okay. And do you know what, Cancer? I think you know that you are the arbiter of this, and this is the Princess of Swords. You know that you are the one that needs to make some physical changes in your life in order to allow you to be. Whether this is finding a new job so you have enough income, whether it's finding a new relationship so you feel like you have something to enjoy in your life, because relationships are really about opening space for another person to change our lives and for us to change their lives, and this reciprocal giving. Yeah, it's not about just taking things, it's about giving and receiving with compassion and grace. And if it's not a relationship, maybe it's just finding new friends, Cancer. Yeah. Whatever it was over here didn't work out, we know that it can work out. We're looking forwards. If you notice, and this is very not necessarily applied to the Rider-Waite deck, but in the Thoth deck, the way in which cards are facing matters a lot, particularly the court cards. And if we look here, the Empress is looking towards this column. Yeah. So I think we know that what we need to look for is this self-directed change. We can't expect someone else to do it. Now, I know this might feel uncomfortable for you, Cancer, particularly I think if you have a Cancer sun, because Cancer is very actually used to being, and this is perhaps what's driving this tension within you. You just want to be, and you know it's your true nature, hence the Hierophant, getting in touch with your intuition. But there's going to have to be a moment here where we have to cause some strife in our lives in order to make it settle. And taking on the role of the Princess of Swords can be uncomfortable for you, Cancer, because it's you taking a leading role. You're not being passive. It's about maybe embracing that Mother Bear energy within you, which is actually Mars in Cancer. Mother Bear energy. Pushing yourself forwards, and not pushing yourself forward. In fact, maybe not pushing. I'd use a different word, actually. Pulling yourself forwards. I think pushing ourselves forwards has a negative connotation. Pulling ourselves forwards, though, we want to do it. Yeah? Okay. It's also very interesting talking about how cards look together. The Princess of Swords is looking towards this cup. If we look, there's kind of like this strange double helix or helix shape going on here. I'm trying to describe this. I can see it, but it's very hard to describe. As the princess has this, so we had like the first crescent here, moving towards this cup, and moving up this way to another crescent. Now we fear the happiness. Again, this is what I was saying about self-sabotage, perhaps. We think that the hope that the environment's giving us is fake. And actually that is not the case, Cancer. It's not the case. Okay, you are in a supportive environment. And if we look, the star is underneath the Tower card. The Ice Shiver shining down upon it. In fact, we could even say the light here is shining through and out of that star, because the Tower does come before the Star card, and it is the way forward. We need this Tower moment in our lives, Cancer, and I think you know, and I think it is the case. You'll be causing your own Tower moment, Cancer. In whatever way this manifests for you, I think it's very positive. And I think when we come to the Shadow card, it will really dictate the nature of this Strife card. I think it's a positive aspect of the Strife card. I think it's well dignified. So if you have any predictions for what the Shadow card could be, I'm going to draw it very soon. It's going to be at the bottom of the deck. And again, remember, it is what is warning us what to look out for in a reading. And my own predictions are perhaps the Ten of Swords, which is a continuation of the Nine of Swords. Will really be telling us that we need to stop whatever we're doing now, start new with the Princess of Swords, applying some matter to our thoughts rather than just thinking, overthinking and overanalyzing. And I think another potential one could be Cancer. So we've got the Queen of Cups. I'm trying to think of another very reflective card. The Moon. We could have the Moon as the Shadow card. Not giving into the delusions of ourselves, not being able to see beyond the barrier of the future shouldn't necessarily hold us back. And I think the Five of Discs as well might be one. Very much the complete opposite of the Strife card. Here is worrying about that strife. That'll be the Five of Discs. Okay, let's have a look at the bottom card. And this is your last chance to predict yourselves what the Shadow card may be. So do put your comments in the comment section if you have a prediction. Okay, I'm gonna pull it. I'm gonna pull the Shadow card now. Okay, oh, we have the Seven of Swords, which actually fits still with the prediction of the Ten of Swords, but less intense. which is a good thing for you, Cancer. So the Seven of Swords is known as futility. I'm just going to put it down there. So what is the Seven of Swords? So you remember when I was talking about the Six of Swords and how the Six of Swords is science. So we're being mindful about what's going wrong in our lives or what's going right in our lives. But here what's going wrong, I think. And then say we've mastered that. We've said, okay, I've come to a mindful state. I understand what's wrong. And then there's that one thought you have that it doubts whether you've actually come to a solution. Like, actually, that's rubbish, mate, or that's never going to work. That's the Seven of Swords. It's second guessing yourself, or becoming identified with the mindfulness, like sort of spiritual egotism. In either case, it's an extra addition to something that was unnecessary. We've got harmony, and then we've added something we don't need. Okay? Sometimes it's what we need in the long run. It is part of the journey of understanding that that was actually what we didn't need. But that will take us all the way to the Ten of Swords. And the Ten of Swords is very much a ride or die card, in a very literal sense as well. And I think here with the Nine of Swords in your current position here, behind the Queen of Cups, Cancer, we have to ask ourselves, do we want to have to get to the point of the Ten of Swords in order to realise where we're going wrong? Or do we use our intuition here, here and here, really, and of course here, really using that intuition, being who you are instead of getting in your own way, and reversing this Seven of Swords back to a Six of Swords, creating the balance of thoughts. So nothing is futile in the attempt that you're about to make, Cancer. Because I think this is a fear that this will be futile, that you'll make this tower moment. And yes, you'll probably lose a lot of something, even if it's just your own ego. But it won't be futile. Okay? So this shadow card is, I believe, at least in this reading, is warning us about that one extra thought. The devil's advocate saying no. Yeah? And it's funny, actually, I predicted the moon for the major arcana it could have been. And you remember we were saying we have a lot of Aquarian energy here. Here we have the moon in Aquarius, which is the Seven of Swords. It is reflecting upon the scientific aspects of Aquarius, but not necessarily having anything positive to say about it. Again, this is all second guessing ourselves. Did we do it right? Well, if you did it in the way that the Six of Swords should be done, which is science, then there's no way you could have done it wrong. Okay? And here I think we're seeing that life is a bit of a science. That's a very masculine aspect. You know, the art is more the feminine aspect. But I think in order for life to become an art, Cancer, for your life to become art, we need a period of it being science. And this is this masculine route upwards. So a little bit of channeling our divine masculine in order to become our divine feminine. Okay. Then living them in balance, of course. So that has been your reading, Cancer. I hope it helps you at the moment in whatever way it can. It seems that you are going through something difficult at the moment, and I do send all my compassion towards you. I do hope that this helps you get through whatever period you are in. Of course, if you are really struggling, Cancer, please do reach out to friends, family and support services if you feel that you need them. Okay. You don't have to do this alone. Remember, we have the Star card here in your environment. Remember, humans rely on each other for support. So thank you very much, Cancer, for watching. If you liked what you saw today, please put a like on the button down below. And if you really liked what you saw today and want to see more readings like this, indeed see them for your other zodiac placements, if it didn't resonate with you today, for example, or if you want to know more about this story or a different story in your life, I do plenty of other readings. I have been a bit slack recently because I've been a bit ill and been away as well. Well, that was quite a while ago now, but still. And of course, I do tutorials on all the Thoth Tarot cards, going through the individual meanings and symbolism of them. So if you're interested in that, as well as tutorials for tarot spreads like I have one on the Celtic Cross, then please do hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos. And now I'm going to stop waffling, and I'll see you again in the next video. May peace be with you all, and goodbye.